Good evening, everybody. Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 103. Hope you had a good start to your week today, and we're happy to be back. Took last week off to do some family stuff, and then we ran right into Midget Week. So, yeah, it's been busy. I feel like racing is back about everywhere in the country, except for a few small places. So that's very good news. I hope you guys are getting to go to races and race and do all that stuff. Any tech questions you have, fire away. I don't have a pre-planned topic tonight, as we have just been wham slam busy racing 6 nights in a row. So yeah, it's just been crazy. So I apologize. I don't have a pre-planned topic. I figured enough of you are racing that we'd have some tech questions and I can answer those, and I can kind of briefly recap our week. And then also I spent some time this evening getting our schedule kind of laid out where we're going to be able to go. Unfortunately, there's some races that we really would like to attend, that we plan to attend, and now all the schedules have been changed, and there's so many of them on top of each other. We're just going to have to make some decisions and figure it out. But Rick Remore, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Looks like you guys had a successful weekend last weekend. I think you guys are going to the Carolina Clash. That's on our schedule, so hopefully we'll get to see you guys there. But yeah, so Midget Week last week kicked off at Paragon on Tuesday night. One of the cool things about Midget Week is the support class all week is sprint cars. So we get to see both. Makes it very busy for us. I try to get around and say hi and check in with every customer we have anytime I'm at the track, and that got to be pretty difficult with almost 100 cars on the grounds between midgets and sprint cars. So, but yeah, so Paragon kicked it off. We had a rough week in the midget side, and not really the ideal week that I want to recap and sit here and tell you we didn't win any races, but sometimes those are the most important weeks to reflect on. When I worked in NASCAR or IndyCar, we had a team debrief every Monday, and sometimes it wasn't the best. It's the same thing if you played high school sports and you got film review the day after a game. You kind of got to man up to the places that you didn't do a good job and figure out a way to fix those. And we certainly had opportunities throughout Midget Week with some of our customers to win some races. It just didn't pan out. I do feel good about our midget package. We worked really, really hard to develop that package last year. Completely redesigned our whole midget package, and honestly had a dominant year. I think we had 4 of the top 5 in national points. Tyler Courtney won the points, won the most races. I think we won 70% of the races last year. So I still feel really good about it, but we just had a rough midget week. So we won some sprint car races, landed on the podium a bunch during midget week, just didn't get that elusive win. So we'll keep digging. We have our new Canister Shock that was in development early in the year, and we're now producing parts for that shock. So that's going to come out in a double adjustable, triple, and then a 4-way adjustable version for micros on up to sprint cars. And I really wish I would have had more of those for Midget Week. We just got behind kind of during the pandemic. We weren't pushing the machine shops to make the parts since business was so slow. It's a rather expensive process to manufacture a whole new shock from the ground up. But those parts are trickling in now, and we hope to be able to start shipping those shocks in about a month. There wasn't enough of them to go around, so I didn't really want to play favorites. We have a handful of national teams, and it just wasn't going to be fair to give one team the shocks. So we didn't run them at all this week, but I think they would have helped. So some questions firing in. Let's see what we got. Sean Mayfield, if you have one camera to watch corner suspension on a non-wing sprint, which would you choose and why? That's really difficult. I have been fooling around with cameras a bunch here lately. I got a new GoPro 7, or new to me. I think they have an 8 out now. But the guy who does a lot of our video stuff, that's the one he recommended. Real good stabilization. And there's a cool app. I can turn it on and off from my phone, so I don't have to bother the person and stay right with their car till staging or whatever. But left rear is a tell-all, especially on the wing cars. You can tell a lot from your left rear. I guess if I had to pick one corner on a non-wing car, it'd be the right rear, just to get an idea for velocities at certain spots and displacement. But it's nice to have kind of one pointing towards the front, one pointing towards the rear, and then and look. So I know it's not practical to put 3 or 4 cameras on your car, but it is a really good tool. You can learn a lot. So how can I get lower than a 566 gear ratio using a belt drive? Let me open Pit Logic and try to answer that for you. Is that on a Honda, Zach? Man, where would you need lower than a 566? They do... We did have some 48 engine gears, and I can check with Mosley to see if there is any more. We really made those for the decos. So I don't know why you would need lower than a 5. You must be racing at a really, really small track. But yeah, the only other option really would be to see if we can get one of those 48s. And I might have one. So reach out to me. Let me know. I might have one I could sell you. I don't intend to use it anytime soon. So. Can we talk about grip and tire pressures? A little bit of a complicated question, but typically less pressure will give you more grip because you're going to get more sidewall deflection. However, you'll reach a point where you get the air pressure so low that it actually loses grip because the sidewall folds under. And there's no grip there. So you see a car when it starts to lose air pressure get tighter, and then it reaches a point where it gets to the certain decrease in pressure and it gets really loose. So that I'm referring to pavement, and the same kind of goes for dirt. Now there's different types of tires and stock car stuff where more pressure gives you more grip, but that's not in our quarter midget or dirt track world. So. Kevin, if only it was so easy. In Zach's instance, the chart goes far enough. Just kind of currently in production, the smallest engine gear we make is a 53. But like I said, I did have some 48s made for the decos, and I'm pretty sure I have one if Mosley doesn't have any new ones. So reach out to me, and I can get you squared away with that. So keep firing away with the questions. More than happy to answer those for you guys this evening. Kind of what our schedule is looking like. It looks like we're going to go to the Hink Memorial here in a couple weeks. Then the Carolina Clash. That's the 11th of July. Then we're back home at Mini Indy for the Robbie Stanley race, the 18th, and then the Big Ben is the 19th. So those are back-to-back days. Unfortunately, the High Bank Hustle, that's one of the tough ones. We love going to that race every year, but it's on top of Sprint Week this year, which is a big one for us. So that'll roll us into Sprint Week there at the end of July. And then one that I'm excited, I'm actually going to go to this one, is the Hyper 600 Speed Week out in Pennsylvania the first week of August. So I've never been out to some of those micro tracks out there, so that'll be a cool trip. So we're going to do that first week of August, and then that rolls right into the Knoxville Nationals. I personally probably won't attend that because Jake from our shop will be there crew chiefing, and so he'll probably handle the CSI stuff at the Knoxville Nationals. And yeah, so that kind of gets us then later on in August is the SmackDown, and that's kind of as far as I got. There's some other stuff we'll hit in there. We'll fill in with local races and whatnot. So Matt Kendall, at what point do we go to the slick track shock we tried at I-55 when the track looked black and it seemed to tie the right rear down too hard? So I-55 might not have been the best place. Even when it got slick, it still carries a lot of speed, and with the banking there, you load the right rear rather hard. Putnamville's another one of those tracks where we wouldn't go to that slick track right rear very often because it has a big curb. So you really have to pick and choose. Paragon, that would have been a place to run it, right? During midget week, it was slick to the point that it took rubber late in the feature, but it was fairly smooth and slick. Those are the instances where you're going to want to run that, what we call slick track right rear, for your non-wing sprint car. So I think I-55, even when it slowed down, you still were carrying a lot of speed and loading the right rear pretty hard. It's good that it made it hook the right rear up, but maybe with the rest of the stuff going on in your setup, it was just a little too tight, and might not have been the right place. Mark, Gas City was rough. What can you do to keep the car from bouncing around? I don't believe you have any gas shocks. Typically with a monotube style shock, we would increase gas pressure when it gets rough. You're twin tube, so I think you have a compression adjustable right rear. You can try increasing the compression in your right rear, and then also up on air pressure in your tire will help. So Mark runs a upright mini sprint. They run a similar tire to the Midgets, which has a really floppy sidewall. A full-size adult like yourself, Mark, with that tire on a rough track, you should probably have 12 pounds of air in the right rear, which I don't know what you had, but that's what I would recommend. Oh, Wes, yeah, feel free to get with me tomorrow. I'm going to be in and out. I got a bunch of stuff going on tomorrow, but get with me and we can get going. I will warn you, we are about 3 weeks out on quarter midget shocks at the moment. We are just slammed with quarter midget orders. Got a little bit behind on parts during the pandemic. We just weren't reordering like we normally would because sales were really, really slow, and then it all hit at once. So we ran out of some parts that are currently being made. We should be able to get them to you before the Clash, but I just want to be honest with you about our backup on that. So, Mark, you had 14. Maybe try blocking the back of the car a little bit lower. But yeah, if you were on full stiff on your shock, you had that much air, and we think we're going to be seeing tracks that rough on a more frequent basis, we either need to look at a gas right rear shock or bump up the compression in your current shock. So, anybody else have any questions for us this evening? Episode 103, and I will have a pre-planned topic next week is my promise to you. If you have friends that aren't Facebookers, which it seems like that's beginning to be more and more people, on our YouTube page, we have all of these archived. So all 102 previous episodes are archived. I go in every couple weeks and upload the most recent episodes that aren't on there. We also have some other cool videos, tech videos on the steering side that Kevin has done, some quarter midget tech videos. So definitely, if you haven't checked out our YouTube page, subscribe there. It's a good resource. We got almost 150 different tech videos on there. The whole shock seminar that I did a little earlier during the COVID lockdown, about 2.5, 3 hours. It's on our YouTube page as well, so that's something that you can check out. So, if nobody else has any questions, we will sign off for this evening. We certainly appreciate you tuning in. If I didn't get to your question, or you watch this after the fact and you think of a question, you always feel free to DM me on Facebook or shoot me an email, garrett@csishocks.com. Or you can go the old-fashioned way and pick up the telephone calls here at CSI. We're more than happy to answer your tech questions. And we certainly appreciate all the support. Hope you guys are all racing and having success. And we look forward to seeing you next Monday.